This is Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today that you'll consider this like a vitamin and a supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom? Leave a rating and a brief written review. It will enable others to find you and find me and be able to be helped. Today I want to give some leadership quotes that I have been thinking about. Some I believe wholeheartedly, some I think have kernels of truth in it, and some, well, I'll let you decide. The first one is that every time you say something, every time you speak, you are auditioning for leadership. What that says is that leadership isn't a tap that you turn on and turn off. It's not like I can be this way in public and then another person in private. And obviously we have other discussions when we're with our family and friends. But what it really is saying is that a leader is being prepared every moment of the day. And your words do matter, and what you say does matter. There have been times I have been told by people of something I said to them 25 years ago. I don't even remember having the conversation, let alone the words that they say that I spoke. But it made to them and for their life an impact at that moment. There are people who have spoken into my life who I know had no idea the impact because of where I was at that time in my life and what I really needed to hear. So just remember, wherever you go, there is someone who needs you. Whether it's at work, whether it's in your home, whether it's church, wherever you go, you can be a messenger of peace and hope and influence. There's a quote from Margaret Thatcher. I'm going to give it right now and then allow you to ruminate on it for a moment. What do you think? She said, "Don't follow the crowd. Let the crowd follow you." Now, if that doesn't sound like Margaret Thatcher, and some of you who are younger don't even know who that is, you'll have to Google Maggie Thatcher. But what I think she is saying, the part of her statement that I like is, too many people are so hooked on fads and what's the latest and the greatest that rather than finding their own leadership voice, rather than being their own woman or man, they're always running after this guru and running after this crowd and following that crowd. What I've learned over my lifetime is if you're going to follow a crowd, you may follow them right off the cliff. And so she is saying, let the crowd follow you. Well, I think what she's basically saying is, find out what it is that you want to do as a leader. Now, allow me to add a spiritual component to that. Get a message from God. Get a dream that God births in your spirit, and then just be the leader that you need to be. There is one that I like from Seth Godin. I do like Seth's writings. There are times they stretch me beyond my own ability to be elastic. But he said that leadership is the art of giving people a platform for spreading their ideas that work. I think what he has hit upon is that leadership isn't just me giving orders. Leadership is just not me coming up some dark room somewhere, my idea and my plan of what needs to be done or what we should do. It's really a team effort. It's really saying, who can I help? Who do I need to listen to? No one of us is as smart as all of us. So, leader, one of the things that you need to do is you need to help the next generation. You need to push them forward. You need to encourage them. The word mentoring comes to mind as well. But it's not just about us getting a spotlight. It's about how can we help develop others. Some of the best ideas that I've ever been around have not come from me. They've come from people around me. And God has blessed me. I have been surrounded with extremely competent leaders who have gone on and really surpassed most things that I was able to do. So don't just think of your own development, but think about how can I develop the people around me, the women and men that have crossed paths with me and that are a part of the team, and how can I help encourage them to be better? Ronald Reagan has a quote that said, the greatest leaders are not necessarily the ones who do the greatest things. They're the ones who get people to do great things. I think what Reagan was basically saying, again, is what most of the quotes that I'm looking at today are, that it's not so much me-centered and what I want to do and what I think, but really, have I started looking around me at the wonderful potential, the marvelous people that have been put into my path and in my sphere of influence? And am I doing all that I can to help develop them? And maybe at this stage of our life, we need to quit worrying about the accolades and the atta-girls and atta-boys, and say, who can I push to the front? Who can I help? Who can I say a word of blessing and encouragement to, that will then go out and do and live out the dreams that God has given to them? So it's not so much about you or I doing great things or good things or reasonable things. It's about, are we empowering those around us to do great things? There's one from John Maxwell. You know, you couldn't have 10 quotes on leadership and not bring John Maxwell into it. And I'd never heard this one, and I believe I've read every book that he's written. And he says to add value to others. I mean, if you're there, you're thinking as a leader, because that's one of the definitions we hear of leaders, is that, well, we're to add value to our organization and to add value to others. He goes on to carry it a step farther that I really like. He says, to add values to others, I must value others. I think at times when you think of leadership, we think of being the boss and giving our opinion and moving things forward. But one of the greatest rewards in all of this is the people you meet, the people you get connected to. And people are valuable. And so as a leader, one of the things you must be cognizant of, you must always keep in mind, is that people are valuable, and they don't really care how smart you are. They don't care what you're dreaming, your plan, and your goals and your vision, if they don't feel and understand and believe that you value them. Obviously, much of my life has been involved in Christian ministry. And I've told people in that there are two things that people have to really believe about you, that you love God and you love them. And if people are convinced that you love God and you love them, they'll put up with a lot of stuff. So part of our responsibility, leaders, is we really must value the people all around us, our family, our friends, our co-laborers, the people that we work with. And there was a Cardinal J. Gibbons who gives a quote. You may not like this one. I kind of do. And that is, there are no office hours for leaders. I think he was saying a couple of things there, and it's not an ode to workaholism. I think what he was saying, that leaders oftentimes have to work until the job is done. And crises and needs and things don't happen between 9 to 5. I kind of stretch out what he's saying in another way, and that is saying you're not just a leader when you're in the office. You're a leader wherever you go. When you're in the grocery store and the post office, mowing your grass, whatever it is you're doing, when you're home with your family, there is no office hours. You are to be you. You are to be genuinely and authentically you, regardless of where you are. Ernest Hemingway said that if you want to be a good leader, when people talk, listen completely. If you've listened to any of my podcasts, you will know that I am an extrovert, seemingly almost born talking, and I love to talk. But it has come to me in my more mature years that I have never learned anything while I was talking. But I've learned a lot when I was listening. And so one of the things that I have to be very, very conscious of is that when people are talking, is to listen And I like what Ernest Hemingway say, listen completely. Oftentimes, we listen with this idea that I'm not really listening. I'm trying to formulate the cute and pithy and wonderful statement that's going to be life-changing that I'm going to give. I'm also one of those who likes to solve problems. So the whole time someone's talking and sharing a problem, I'm already working in my mind, well, here's what you need to do to get out of that and to correct that and to get better. And so I've had to learn to step back and to really listen, and to quote Ernest Hemingway, to listen completely. If you really want to be the leader that God wants you to be, you're going to have to learn to listen correctly. Eddie Rickenbacker said, I can give you a 6-word formula for success. Think things through, then follow through. I like that. Just a 6-word formula for success. Think things through, then follow through. As I reflect over a lifetime, I've been doing what I've been doing for 38 years plus now. And I think of things that didn't work out and times that things just sort of exploded on me. Oftentimes, it can be traced back to this one thing. I didn't really think it through. It was Jesus himself in the gospel who says that you have to count the cost. He says no one going to war should go to war unless they've thought out all of the implications. He also used the illustration Jesus did of building a tower. You don't build a tower unless you've counted the cost and have the equipment and the manpower and the time with which to do it. So I think that one of the tough jobs of being a leader is it requires thinking. Think things through, then follow through. What I like about Rickenbacker's quote is it brings together the 2 key components of leadership. And that is having a plan that's well thought out, but then you have to execute it. I could go to the drawers in the desks of many great leaders, and if I rummaged through them, I could find all kinds of plans and dreams and goals and things we were going to do and they were going to do. And it's only one part of it to think things through and to have a plan. Then you have to work that plan. You have to follow through. You are not where you are so that you can think nice thoughts. You are where you are so you can get something accomplished. One of the great attributes of leaders, and I think what separates an average leader from a good leader is the test of a leader is the ability to recognize a problem before it becomes an emergency. Everyone recognizes an emergency. Henny penny, the sky is falling. Okay, everyone gets it when there's a crisis. And you can't be in life as long as I've been and not be involved in a few crises. Everyone recognizes a crisis. Unfortunately, what's happening in my country and probably around the world is we seem to have a dearth of leaders who are able to see the problem before it evolves or devolves into an emergency or a crisis. So leader, one of the things you have to keep your eye on is, are we headed for crisis or an emergency? Let's start today working that problem out. The last quote that I'm going to give you today is from Ray Kroc of McDonald's fame. And he said of the quality of a leader is reflected in the standards they set for themselves. Leader, it's not enough for us to set standards for others or tell others what to do or what you need to do. You and I have to lead at the forefront. We should be constantly improving. We should be seeking to get better. Hold yourself to a higher standard than you hold everyone else to. If you don't do that, you're really not a leader. The leader is the person, I'll go first. I'll take the first step. I have said to the people under my influence, if you want your crowd to catch a cold, you better have pneumonia. And so if you're going to be a leader, you're going to have to set the standards for yourself. And far too often, leaders hold themselves down, don't even expect as much out of themselves as they do other people in the organization. And you're not a leader unless you're holding yourself to a high standard. You've been listening to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom. Words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I hope today this has been like a vitamin and a mineral for your heart and mind. And again, wherever you receive podcasts, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, leave a rating and a brief written review. And if you'd like to get on my calendar to see if there's any way that I can come together and I can help you, go to drronblake.com/call, and I'll give you a call and we'll see what the possibilities are. Now, leader, remember this at the beginning of the year. I don't care what's happening in your life. You are doing better than you think you are, a whole lot better. And until next time, this is Dr. Ron saying, have a great and blessed day.